A thriving society vanished into thin air. Historians are finally piecing together the clues. In the 7th century BC, Tartessos once reached great heights as a rich society full of skilled craftsmen. New excavations have revealed surprising facts about how this culture was seemingly abandoned. To this day, historians can't fully explain the mysterious disappearance of the thriving ancient society of Tartessos. New questions arise as excavations reveal more about the advanced, multicultural civilization that seemingly vanished overnight. Rising to power along the southern coast of the Iberian Peninsula, Tartessos is believed to have strong ties to a group of seafaring traders, the Phoenicians, who first arrived in the Iberian Peninsula in the 10th century BC. They originally hailed from modern-day Lebanon, Syria, and northern Israel, and were known across the Mediterranean as skilled sailors and expert merchants. Given the name Phoenician by the Greeks for the exquisite purple dye they crafted, they never created a unified kingdom. Purple rain. A passion for purple built the Phoenicians' vast trading empire. Tartessos is believed to be the resulting outgrowth of Phoenician culture, combined with the indigenous culture of peoples living on the Iberian Peninsula. Some scholars still believe that Tartessos itself could predate these Phoenician influences, and new discoveries continue to fuel the debate. Legends of Tartessos. Tales of Tartessos stretch all the way back to the mid-7th century BC. A Greek trader called Callias set sail from his home island of Samos, off the coast of present-day Turkey. He was headed for Egypt, but during the voyage Callias's ship was surprised by strong winds from the east that pushed it westward across the Mediterranean, beyond the Pillars of Hercules and into the Strait of Gibraltar. Callias and his fellow sailors arrived in Tartessos, a commercial emporium previously unknown to merchants from Greece. Callias began to trade with the Tartessians and turned a large profit, mainly thanks to the silver, over 1.75 tons, that he amassed there. This traveler's tale is found in Greek historian Herodotus's Histories, written in the 5th century BC. And although the narrative is no doubt embellished, Herodotus did live for a time in Samos, where he may have heard of Callias's adventure. Other classical texts also contain references to a town called Tartessos in the lands around the Gulf of Cadiz in the southern Iberian Peninsula. From these mentions, historians and archaeologists are working to build up a picture of this enigmatic civilization steeped in legend. Tartessos's beginning. One of the most controversial issues has been when Tartessos was founded. Until the late 20th century, most experts believed that Tartessos emerged as far back as the Bronze Age. The culture was thought to have spread over a large area in the southwestern Iberian Peninsula, between the settlements of Huelva, Seville, and Cadiz, the Tartesian Corp. If so, Tartessos would have existed even before the first Phoenician colonies were established in the 10th and 9th centuries BC. How a Phoenician queen became a notorious villain in the Bible. Tartessian culture flourished in the lower Guadalquivir River area, around modern-day Seville. But 3,000 years ago, the geography of the area was completely different from today. The mouth of the river was located much farther inland, and it emptied its waters into a huge estuary called the Tartessian Gulf. The Dinana marshes are remnants of that ancient landscape. However, as archaeological excavations continue, this hypothesis seems increasingly unlikely. Although some authors speak of a period called the Tartessian Late Bronze Age, there is little strong evidence to support the existence of a defined settlement in the southwestern peninsula during the 12th and 11th centuries BC. What may have existed was an emerging social organization, based on agriculture and the export of raw materials from mining. Archaeologists have found evidence of a community at nearby Huelva during this period. Artifacts unearthed at the site and elsewhere suggest that the community was skilled at trading with the Atlantic world. Objects made of copper from Huelva have been found as far away as France and the British Isles. The well-established trading links would have helped them profit from the abundant silver mines in the area, such as those in Aznalcóllar, northwest of modern-day Seville. See Spain's fabled Alhambra as few have ever before. Phoenicians in Iberia. These early trading communities around the Gulf of Cadiz experienced a profound transformation with the arrival of the Phoenicians. It was in the 9th century BC that traders from the flourishing cities of the eastern Mediterranean settled permanently in the southwest of the Iberian Peninsula. Phoenician colonizers started by building temples to their gods along the coast. These religious complexes not only served spiritual purposes, they also played a key role in commerce by providing a neutral space for trading. The Temple of Melkart, or Hercules, near Cadiz seems to have had this dual purpose. Very soon the Phoenicians built permanent establishments called factories, and later the first colonies. One of these new city colonies, Cadiz, would become the most important economic, political, and religious center in the region. It served as the main port for exporting silver, tin, and salted fish. These mining and agricultural products came both from Huelva itself and from inland. 2,600-year-old wine factory, from Phoenicians unearthed in Lebanon. The Phoenicians brought innovations to the areas they settled. Iron, hybrid animals such as the mule, plant species like grapevines and olive trees, the potter's wheel, and ceramic kilns. They also introduced the alphabet, an essential element for trade. Even the architecture would be influenced. The Phoenicians favored orthogonal structures with right angles, which generated a much more complex urban layout. Over the course of the 9th and 8th centuries BC, these things would transform the economy and way of life of the local peoples. During this initial period of colonization, local Iberian communities gradually adapted to the presence of the eastern settlers. Archaeologists are looking for more insight as to how this integration developed, but it seems likely that people migrated from inland regions to the coastal colonies. The workforce swelled. Miners and farmers arrived, as well as the artisans and construction workers needed for the new cities, temples, and communication routes. In the Guadiana and Tagus valleys, the dominant warrior elite may have supplied labor in exchange for access to the Phoenicians' iron and technical innovations. In these inland areas, local traders would have provided gold, tin, and agricultural products to the Phoenicians. Although the Phoenicians had a huge impact on the colonized territories of the Iberian Peninsula, the changes were experienced unevenly. In sparsely populated areas, such as the Guadalquivir Valley and the Bay of Cadiz, the incoming Phoenicians were able to found their own cities and incorporate the indigenous population. In Huelva, a more established economy and defined social structure already existed, rendering Phoenician influence weaker. It was in the 8th century BC that interactions between the Phoenicians, the indigenous communities, and the populations of the interior gave rise to the culture now termed Tartessian. The word Tartessos first appears in Greek sources in the following century. We'll be bringing you the very latest updates and breaking news. So please subscribe to the channel, like, share, and leave your comment in the comment section below.